You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Mega Pencils. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Oh, happy Monday.
Siblings, I want to apologize for last week because the last 2 weeks have been draining.
Yeah,
I don't
had
want
a lot going on.
Okay, so if you don't know, I don't, because I didn't go and post it everywhere on the internet because it's not something I don't feel like you do. But
yeah,
no, my wife had to have surgery, gallbladder surgery, something simple. Yeah, at least that's what they say.
Sure, yeah.
And
still surgery, so you gotta keep an eye.
Sure, and so obviously during the weekend I was taking care of her, and I thought she would have been okay because they made it sound like, she'll be fine. Yeah. She'll be fine. And I was like, okay, well, then everything will be fine. Mm-hmm. And then Saturday, no, it doesn't seem like she's doing better. Sunday, and she's like, I don't know. So then everything gets canceled, which we rarely do.
Yes, I was going to say, we have a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
But it seems like something big had to happen.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So let that, lie. And it was like, okay, fine. And this week, or at least going to Horror Ramblings, because it also got canceled. This week's episode, come Friday, will also be a little different because we had to kind of reschedule that as well, because then I had to take my mother to Nashville for a doctor's appointment. My dad is not fond of Nashville traffic, nor am I.
Well, that's fair. I mean, who wants traffic?
I don't. Like,
Sucks.
I know how bad Nashville is. I can only imagine driving in a bigger city. Like,
I think you would lose your mind here. I would just tell you to take the tubes, tell you to take, Uber if you want, and just keep your head in your lap so you're not paying attention. That's why in Boston, because nothing's quick.
Yeah, that's why in Boston I did not care or did not mind taking the subway and walking everywhere. Even when we were in San Jose for TwitchCon, that one time that I never got in, maybe one time, and paid all that money, the bastards. I didn't mind walking the streets. I know I walked several miles to go from the convention center back to where we were staying.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck, didn't we walk back from the... Wait, oh no, you left. Sorry.
Yeah,
The rest of us did. Yeah. Which was fair.
I got to explore San Jose, which I'd never seen the town before. Never really got to explore California like that. Right. And I was like, all right, this is cool. And I really had fun just doing that. So, yeah, I was even talking about that to my parents yesterday because they were talking about, Nashville's terrible. And I was like, yeah, if I ever had to live here, I would not own a car. I would be walking everywhere, or I'd have a bike. Do they have
really good public transit in Nashville?
They may have bus routes. I'm not going to swear to it because I can't say that.
Here you don't need it.
Right.
There's so much transit everywhere, so it kind of makes sense. And then when people have like two cars, I'm like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Some people just don't like public transit, which is fair. But,
I do know that they've installed those little scooters that you can...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those about town, so I'm like, all right, well... There are options, and I know they've discussed a subway at one point. And I was like, but where are you going to put a subway and why? It's not that big.
Well, maybe at least like to and from the airport or something.
Maybe, yeah. It wouldn't be that bad, I guess.
Yeah.
But
at least make that easier on people, and then you could have not as much traffic, hopefully, at your airport, plugging everything up. You're still going to have a lot. It's a big city, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's just been exhausting. I've just wanted to sit and relax. Even when we were out yesterday and I finally got out of the traffic, we had a delivery that was supposed to, you have deliveries, you expect it to wind up on your back door. And we weren't home yet. And then for some reason, FedEx here lately, and I'm going to call out this company, point blank, because they've done this more than once. They've decided to just leave packages at the edge of our driveway. Now, our driveway is not just like you pull out and hit the road immediately. Yeah. You have to kind of go down it a little bit. It's not a long driveway, but again, there's a stretch from the edge to the house. And they've just decided, fuck it, we're not going to do that. We're going to just leave everything at the edge of the driveway. And then they will say that they put it on the back porch. And it's like, you lying son of a bitch. So we found out that they had dropped this package. And immediately we're like, we can't get home. So we've got to figure that out. And it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
But anyway, got it. It's fine.
I tell you, none of them are really good, though.
No.
Because we even had a situation once, I think it was FedEx. They dropped something on our porch. Wasn't for us. Just wrong name, wrong house number, everything. Mm-hmm. So our landlord physically took it back to have it sent, scratched it off and said, return to sender. I shit you not, Steven. It landed back on our porch the next day. And I was going to my car as I saw a dude dropping it off. And I'm like, no. I was like, it says right there, return to sender. Why the hell is it even coming back here? And I explained the situation. I'm like, nobody by that name lives here. It's not supposed to be. So I saw a dude walk off with the truck, put it back on his truck or whatever. And I leave. I come back later that evening. It was there.
Good
dude,
God.
He just waited till I left and dropped it again. And I'm like, son of you guys, why are... So yeah, they all suck. There you go.
They just don't care.
I told him. It even said return to sender. We drove it to the thing. Yeah. So there you go.
Low down. That's just pure laziness.
Just to leave it on the porch again anyway. What difference did it make if you just put it back on your truck? That's what I just couldn't understand.
Just take it back with you and just be like, hey, this is the wrong address or whatever.
Yeah. I was about to just throw it away at this point. I was like, let her file a claim with them, whoever's it was on the name on it. And I'm like, I'm done messing with this box. Sorry, lady. They can't find you. Sorry.
And you said it was not even your address that was on the label?
I think it was because we have the north in front of ours, and I think that was south.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I was trying to explain. I was like, I think it just needs to go other side. But I mean, it's not super close. Not close enough that I would have drove it by, or I probably would have just done that to get it out of my life.
Sure.
But yeah. So I just kept saying, no, Maria lives here. Sorry. Not even upstairs. I know those guys. Anyway. But yeah. So delivery companies are amazing.
Wow. Anyway, yeah, they're garbage, and I don't know. I don't want to deal with it because they're just...
Well, you'll just be stuck on the phone forever. No one's really going to care. That's the problem with corporations.
Well, I even filed a claim online, or at least a complaint, and didn't hear shit about it.
Yeah.
Nothing. So I'm just...
They're probably just like, yeah, join the crowd, buddy, of all the people who have complaints.
Yeah. How about that, And funny enough, while we're talking about the day of the surgery, going back to that, which was 2 weeks ago. So the day that all that happened, they said, hey, we're going to send in a prescription to your pharmacy. And I was like, okay. It's like, well, are you going to make it to your pharmacy? And now, keep this in mind. I got there around 9:30, 10 with my wife. We didn't leave until 5.
Okay. Yeah. So you're talking about the day of the surgery.
Yeah. So I was stuck in a room alone for hours and
That's
nothing.
Rougher on you.
I didn't prepare. If I'd have known, I would have brought a bag full of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But... So they said, hey, we're going to call this in to your pharmacy. And I was like, all right, well, we're not going to get there before they close. And they're like, so do you want us to send it to another pharmacy? And it was like, I guess. Or if you think she can make it through the night, I'll just pick it up in the morning. Whatever. It doesn't, I just need to know what to do. So they said, well, we'll call it into a different pharmacy. Where do you want to go? My wife gave them the pharmacy. And I was like, all right, fine, we'll go. Now, get out of Nashville because, again, that's where we were. 2 weeks of that. And Friday afternoon driving home in traffic in Nashville.
Oh, yeah, no. Garbage time for all cities like that. Yep.
So finally get out there to the pharmacy. And as we're heading to that pharmacy in which the prescription was being filled, I looked up a Google review, and the store had 2.7 stars.
Oh, no.
And majority of the reviews were low. So you had your rare...
For what reason?
Huh?
Taking forever or...
Shit, customer service, the people were rude, don't care, just garbage employees. So I was like, oh, that's wonderful. So I already kind of had my guard up going in because I didn't know what I was walking into. So I go inside, head to the pharmacy, and I'm greeted by some Karen-ass looking woman.
Oh, no, don't judge her yet.
I know. Wait for it.
You never know.
So I was like, hello. She's like, can I help you? And I'm like, yes, I'm here to pick up a prescription for Katrina White. And she's like, okay. And then gets information. And she's like looking at her computer and she's like, so was it, where did it come from? And I was like, well, it should have been called in from the hospital. And she's like, oh, okay. No. And just fumbling around a computer for a second. She's like, well, let's go over here. And I was like, oh,
like
shit.
This computer?
Yeah, so I was just starting to get a little frustrated already. So we walk over to this other. She's like, now, what is your name? And I was like, my name doesn't matter. I said, I'm not here to get the prescription. It's for my wife, Katrina. She's the one that needs a prescription. She's like, oh, okay. Well, so and the prescription was called in. And I was like, yes, we just left the hospital. They said they were calling it in here to get it filled. Huh. Okay, well, the computer says it's too early.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, what do you mean too early? I said, so how long is it going to take? Oh, I mean, the computer says it's too early. I can't feel it. What? I don't feel it? Or I can't feel it.
Oh, how does that just feel like
I know, my mouth said, but... So I was like, but what? I don't understand what you mean. Now, are you understanding what she means?
Like too early? No. Like if the doctor called it in, I could understand if maybe you got there, the pharmacy tech was just on a break. We had to wait for them to get back. Or they're currently filling it right now because it was just called in. But like, no, I don't understand.
Okay, so thank you for clarifying that you understand where I'm coming from. Because I was getting frustrated.
I wouldn't know.
I was like, I don't know what you mean. I said, what do you mean it's too early? So how long is it going to take? Is it going to be today? Is it going to be tomorrow? What are you talking about? And she's like, I just can't. The computer says it's too early. I just can't fill it.
So does it say the words too early, ma'am? Can you show me the screen?
Well, as she kept repeating this and not explaining it, as I was getting frustrated because I knew if I had to hear the same simple explanation, again, there's going to be a bomb that goes off in this building and it's going to be me. Yeah. So I turned around and I said, fuck it. And I walked out. And then as I get to the van, my brain is processing.
Yeah.
And then I thought, too early to fill. What does this mean? Tit. Oh, do you remember the other pharmacy? They probably never canceled that. They already filled it.
Oh, maybe.
And then therefore the computer is like, whoa. This has already been filled. You don't need another right now. And then I was like, aha. So... we couldn't get it there. We're still going to have to wait the next day tomorrow anyway. Oh, so it's already fucked. But it was just the idea that she did not explain it. Talk to me like I was some drug addict. That was the other thing that was starting to bother me is this attitude. Like, it's just too early. I can't do it.
Like, all she literally would have had to have said was, it looks like it was already filled at another pharmacy. So you had no refills left.
Yes, exactly.
Simple. Done. Yeah.
If she had said that, I would have walked out of there less frustrated because I've been like, okay, so they didn't get it over here. They didn't cancel all right, well, okay. No worries. Thank you very much. I'll deal with it tomorrow. Fault. Yeah. But I didn't it was just this, it's too early. it's too early. And I was like, well, I don't know what that means.
This is why you have 2.7 stars.
Exactly.
Like, you could just say the words that people need to hear so we know what's going on.
Yes.
Wow.
It was a very simple mistake that the hospital made.
Right.
And could have, one simple little thing.
Yeah.
It already been filled somewhere else. Thank you. Thank you. I got it now. I understand. Because I even told her that. I said, well, they were sending it one place and they said they were going to send it over here.
Yeah.
So the information was there. You just were too stupid and too...
Yeah, I wonder why that she wouldn't have just said that.
Because she's a Karen and made judgments ahead of time.
Yeah, that could be true too.
It's like I didn't walk in looking like a drug addict. At least I didn't think I did, but I guess my garb was just too much or something.
Oh, no. Did you have the toque on? Maybe that's what it was.
I had my hat on and I had my hoodie on and, shirts and jeans and whatnot. So I guess I was too much.
And that beard of yours.
Yeah, I'm a cretin. But no,
See, this is why we shouldn't prejudge anybody. See, that exchange could have gone so much more smoothly.
It could have, but somebody should have done their job better as customer service. Explain it, and I would have been like, "Oh, okay, gotcha, thank you."
Gotcha, yeah. Still would have sucked, but you would have understood.
Because I even thought, I even told Katrina, I said, "Well, if I need to go get it tomorrow at the other one, that's what I'll do. If you can hold out."
Yeah.
Because that was even my plan. I said, I'll go first thing in the morning. As soon as they open, I'll go down there, grab it.
Was it at least just pain meds, not like something she would need for like infection or anything?
No,
that would be the only thing I'd be worried about.
No, it was pain meds, and even to a point,
still sucks.
Yeah, she used them for a couple of days, and then she just kept talking about how she felt. And she was like, "I don't like this," and I was like, "Then don't take them."
Yeah.
I was like, "If you can do without them, don't take them."
Yeah.
Because if you don't need them.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I only used them for maybe the first week myself. I feel like they give you way too many. Like it was like 30 pills, and I'm like, what? Why do I need this many?
Yeah, I don't think she had that many, but it was still enough to just be like, I don't want to take the rest of these because it just made you feel like hazy.
I mean, if you can't just have fun with it, then what's the?
And that was the part of it. She says, she's like, why do people take these? She's like,
really? I could totally see why people would take those and do it because I've had enough of them where I'm like, yeah.
I guess maybe hers just the way they went through her system and made her feel was not
different though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So whatever. I don't know. The week was.
Yeah, that's a long week.
Yeah. Just the fact that it felt like it was continuing because our anniversary was Friday. And we were trying to have a nice day out, and we had plans. It was just like, hey, we're gonna go out. I was gonna go get her nails done because that was something she wanted to do, and then we'd go out to eat, and then we'd go see a movie. This is all planned, and then that's when we got the call about my mom needing a ride on Saturday, and it was just like, well, for us to get down there by 9. We'd have to get up very early, drive over to their house. Then it's an hour drive pretty much to Nashville. So we can't stay out all night. So screwed. So we just decided to get lunch instead and forego the movie. And that was that.
Aw.
We were a little disappointed. And
then
hopefully
you could make up for it another day.
Well, we're going to have to because even yesterday we thought, well, we'll get them down there. It'll be fine. More doctor shit that I just can't stand.
Reaching that age.
Okay, so it's like an eye doctor, and I guess she was technically a new patient, and her appointment was supposed to be at 9:15. Well, 9:15 passes, and we're starting to get to 10:15, and it's like, what is taking so long?
Yeah, doctors, what's up?
Sitting there thinking, it's like, did we miss her name or something like that? Because we saw all these other people going in and out. I was like, what the fuck? So finally, my mom goes and asks, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, because you're a new patient. It could take, I don't know, like 1 to 3 hours. It's like, why?
What?
Why would it take 1 to 3 hours? I don't know. I don't know.
Don't you get there early to fill out the paperwork so you can hopefully get in by your appointment time?
Exactly what I thought, too. We got there plenty early. And it was just... Mama, as soon as I heard that shit come out of her mouth, I was just like, I'm going to leave right now because I don't know I'm not sitting here for 3 hours in a doctor's office.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, we didn't get out of there until close to noon. I don't think it was noon specifically, but it was very close. And it was just, oh my God, if I hadn't had, like, I wandered the halls of this doctor facility or whatever, just going up and down elevators, walking down hallways. It was a Saturday. No one was there, so hopefully they didn't think I was trying to rob anything. I was just walking.
Case in the joint.
Yeah, I needed to walk. Yeah. And it was just like, my God. I don't understand doctor's offices. That alone, 3 hours. Why would it take 3 hours?
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, if you're talking about maybe the entire appointment's going to take that, sure. But she made it sound like it's going to take about 3 hours to get you in, or it could take 1 to 3 hours to get you in and seen. And it was
so were they going off the? Did you have an appointment?
My mother did. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm still. Why give an appointment time?
Exactly.
Now, if she was a walk-in, I'm like, okay, maybe I could see that. Nothing life-threatening. People had appointments. But if you had an appointment, what are we doing right now?
Exactly. And that was kind of the fussing we all did on the way home.
I bet.
It's like, I don't understand this. If you work in the medical field of any kind and you understand what we're talking about, please explain it. Because
let us know why we can't just go in when we're supposed to.
Yeah. Why does it take that long? If I'm there early or on time and my paperwork is filled out, and they're not behind.
Unless someone's overbooking these poor doctors.
I'm starting to think that was part of it too.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Anyway,
really
we didn't get home until like 4 or 5. And then even when we got home, we had stuff to do and didn't really get to sit down. After a while.
Jammies and forget it. My day's done now.
Well, we should have, but it was just, I was already kind of in this work zone and was like, you know what? Let's just do this tonight. So maybe tomorrow I can relax.
I can chill, yeah.
And that's the plan as soon as we're done here. Hopefully.
Right. No, I hope. Yeah.
But no, that's pretty much been
the
entirety of my week.
Well, I hope she's doing better now.
She's doing much better. She's definitely up and around. She's not using the cane anymore to get around because she was kind of using that for balance to help her move. But
yeah,
I think right now it's trying to adjust to not having a gallbladder and figuring out what that's going to entail. Because I'll give her a lot of credit. She is being very particular about what she's eating. She's paying attention to it. And I even told her maybe we need to get her like a food journal or something like that to where she can kind of mark stuff down because
till it becomes second nature.
Yeah, because at some point, I mean, there are going to be things she knows wholeheartedly she can't have. Luckily, sushi is not one of those things because she would have died. She loves sushi.
Okay, good. Well, I'm sure you could probably make something sort of close that would maybe satisfy that craving.
Maybe.
I mean, I know it wouldn't be the same, but people are creative with food.
Mm-hmm. You know? We have this sushi spot we like to frequent that's outside Nashville in this other town called Mount Juliet. And I mean, it's a really authentic spot. And she got this, just ordered a bento box, which I have never seen. And we'd never ordered that before because I told her, I said, just, go crazy. Find something new. Don't always order the same thing. Try something different. So she got this bento box. It was huge and just fried broccoli, fried onions.
Tempura, I bet that.
Yeah. Tempura for sure.
That is so delicious though.
But had your sushi, had some nigiri, and then a few fried vegetables. Like, why did they deep fry broccoli? Doesn't matter.
Because it's so good. I know it sounds stupid, but it tastes delicious.
Well,
I have to.
She avoided those because she was a little concerned. Fair point, being fried foods and whatnot. But
like since the surgery?
Yeah. She's been understandably concerned because she doesn't want it to cause issues. But I had the onion ring that she had on her plate, and that was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, I support the tempura fried broccoli. Mm-hmm. It's delicious.
Well,
I'm telling you, man. Well, you don't like broccoli, though.
I don't,
right?
but maybe I should have tried it just to see.
Especially if they had some kind of like sour cream sauce or something that you could have dipped in it. Ooh.
That would have been good. Okay, well, if it ever comes across my way, I'll give it a try.
I'm telling you, like if you wanted to make it at home, the sauce is super easy. You do some sour cream, cream cheese, onions, chives, parsley, stir, dip your fried broccoli, chef's kiss.
Just sound good.
It is really good. But there you go. Pro tips.
I'll give it a try. I'll at least
think you'll like it.
Try it once. What have you been playing this week?
I did good this week. I did good. So somehow I had just realized on Thursday evening that The Quarry was mixed in with a PlayStation game.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I played that. Now I can do it for free with the PlayStation one because I was waiting for it to go on sale because I'd already discussed I wasn't going to buy it on PC because of Denuvo. So I was just going to bite the bullet when it went on sale for console. Well, now I don't have to, which was nice. So I have done one playthrough because only one playthrough was about 8-ish hours. Well, with the choices that I made and everything. Of course, your mileage may vary on your first playthrough or whatever. So over the course of 3 nights, just got one playthrough done. And I will say, story is good, clever, made me laugh a few times. So acting, nailed it. You know, some of the other kid actors, well, I call them kids, but I know they're adults. Sorry. I shouldn't do that. That's insulting. But the other younger actors, that David Arquette, you know, and Ted Raimi, hadn't heard of most of them before, but did a really good job. Mm-hmm. So I will give the story, the acting, delivery, all of that stuff really great. What I don't understand is why we made the game to play so much easier than ones you have done in the past. So the QTEs, for example, was only ever the left joystick going up, left, down, or right. I never had to use X, circle, triangle like they did in Until Dawn or other supermassive games that I have played. So I admit it made it all feel very slow, like as far as my participation in it. So that I have to knock it down a little bit because it didn't really heighten any of the tense scenes to make me feel like I would miss it. There was plenty of advance notice. It was only hitting it one direction, not having to hit a bunch of different buttons. So boo on that. Like, why wouldn't you make it a little bit harder in some of these like you've done in other games in the past? So I don't know if it was because of the big fan, like the huge actors they got, that they expected more people who never video gamed to maybe pick it up because of the name power.
But I feel like they've had bigger names than other, like Until Dawn had a few.
Yeah, no, you're right. Even I think their second one. But I mean, I would still say this as far as star power goes. Well, maybe for me anyway. For me. Yeah. Because I know a lot of them were probably like B-rate actors or whatever that I followed for a while or just have a special place in my heart for, like Ted Raimi, of course, you know. I mean, Lance Henriksen, Ethan Suplee. I like Ethan Suplee. You know, there was that Skylar kid. I can never remember his last name, but I see him a lot on Netflix. Like Babysitter Killer, I think, was one of them that he was in. Anyway, he was in it. Funny, hilarious, you know. But I guess my problem with it was if you were including a movie mode, which I would imagine would just be watching the story, maybe you get to choose the dialogue choices that'll pop up.
Yeah.
Maybe that's your only participation. If you're going to offer that mode, why not make the game portion a little bit harder?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Especially with QTEs, they're not, sometimes can be difficult, but not as difficult already. So I was just a little disappointed at the variety of mechanics having like none. So I moved around. You hit X when you found stuff. And then my QTEs was that. And there is some combat, but it's like shooting here or there. So it's still not anything that... So just, you're going to watch a lot more than you probably had in other games that you made. So I kind of want to play it again because I thought I was doing so well. And then the last chapter, I started losing people. So I think there were some decisions that I made that were just unavoidable by the time it came to it, you know? So yeah, not my favorite as far as gameplay that Supermassive has done, but the story and the people and the stuff with it was really fun. So I think the story was more fun than some of the other ones they've done in the past, but the playing of it itself was much more dull. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. But I'll still probably play it again because I do like the story, and I would like to see if I can get them all out to actually see an ending. And then I played 10 dates. I was a little behind on getting that played because it came out on Valentine's, which was the sequel to Five Dates. So it was another FMV game by Paul Rashid, Wales Interactive, Good Gate Media. It is what it is. It's super adorable and cute. I love the different personalities that they put in there that you could date. I haven't played all of them yet. I think I've cleared most of the females side of dating, and then the male side, I think I've only successfully had one. Like, I would like fumble it or something on the second date, and it would be hilarious. But I'm not as into the personality. Now, maybe this is just me being me, but the personalities that they gave the guy, I didn't like as much. So the only successful date I had with the dude was with a dude. Isn't that funny? It was the only one I liked well enough out of his dating pool that I was successful. I'll go back and try the other ones because I just want to see the scenes, you know, but I was just more like, I'm into this dude.
Yeah.
I like this guy for you. Let's do this. Like, they're more fun right now. So yeah. And then I putzed around in Oxygenaut a little bit because now I finally have running water and toilets and they're doing well. I'm like, okay, now if I could get this power thing figured out for, you know, renewable, that's the word, renewable, they might be doing okay. And then I could maybe get off the planet or something. I don't know. We'll see. But what have you been playing?
Well, you'd think I wouldn't have played very much, but I guess it has been about 2 weeks. So I've played some.
True.
So I was trying to remember if I mentioned this the last time we spoke. And I don't think I had done this yet, but I beat Death Stranding.
I think sort of, maybe. Or maybe you and I were talking about it. I don't know.
May have. I can't remember if I was bringing that up because I was looking back on it. I was like, did I beat it? Has it been that long? And I feel like maybe it had.
I think you did, but you were like poking around with some building stuff or something.
Yeah, because there was a pizza problem. Did I tell you the pizza problem? I feel like maybe
I don't know. Maybe. Let's see.
I feel like maybe I did because it was about I had a pizza delivery that I needed to do, and then I got caught by the end of the game in 3 hours later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got all that sorted.
Okay.
Thank goodness, because I think that was the thing I had left is to get the pizza delivered, and then that could go to another trophy. And I got all my trophies, so that's what I'm saying. I platinumed it.
So it's platinum?
It's done. I think it was that, and then I know what it was. This is what I didn't get to figure out until last minute. I was trying to, and I wish I'd have known this ahead of time, because I built this structure ages ago in the game. I say ages, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In game hours.
In game world.
It felt like ages ago. So as I was building all these roads and everything, I noticed that behind this one area called the Timefall Farm, there was this other road structure. And I was like, well, this doesn't look like it's connected to the other. What is this out here? Well, I built it, and it was a racetrack. And I thought, that's cool. A racetrack. But I saw nothing about the racetrack as a necessity. Like, I even looked through trophies, and initially just through the trophy look, there's like, it doesn't say win a race and the racetrack or anything. So I was like, well, I don't need to do this. Now, I did mess around with it once, and I was
Maybe it was just for funsies.
Yeah, I was just like, okay. So as I was looking through my trophy list, there was one I hadn't done, and it was to craft all the items. And I went through, and I was like, what the hell am I missing? Because I've crafted everything. But I hadn't. Apparently, you could earn a brand new vehicle at the racetrack, which would then in turn become the next two, or the last two things that I needed. Craftable. So I had to earn the blueprints from the racetrack for the vehicle.
Okay.
And it was like a roadster, like these old 1950s roadsters. And I saw it on the racetrack before, and I thought, oh, that's cool. That's neat. But I had to win the race, S rank.
Nice.
And then, get all that. So
wait, did you, or you had to?
I had to. And, the very first time I raced, I wasn't, I guess I didn't have my focus on. I was just like, let's try this. And then you'd hit the curves, and then you bounce, and then boom.
You're getting used to it.
And I got like a rank A, and I thought, okay, I'm good. So I never went, because it was the same with like your, you had training practice with your guns or all your weapons. I would get maybe like an A or a B rank, and I would just be like, and I would let it go because I wasn't being competitive about it because it was like, this does nothing for me, so I'm not earning anything. The hell with it.
Yeah.
This, when it said, well, you have to get this to get that, and I was like, focus. And then first time I was trying to get a feel for the car, and I really got into it, and I thought it was going to take much longer than it was. Once I got that first S rank, got them from there on, because I had to do 4 races. But once I did it, I got it done, and I did build the car and try it out on the actual road once, because I did not have this car, and it would have been really nice to have this car for certain deliveries going from point A to point B, because it was so fast.
Oh, yeah.
So much faster than my bike, which was always kind of that thing that you get because it was like, well, it's the fastest thing I got.
Yeah.
No. This car was much faster. In fact, going around curves, you have to be careful or you're going to slide right off.
Sure.
But I gave it a test run, got it from one to the other, and I was like, okay, well, at least I did that. But I got it, so it was fun.
Nice.
So if you're playing Death Stranding, do the racetrack. Get that car just as soon as
get it, so you can clear it, right?
For clarification's sake, it is the director's cut version that car is in. So that's
is that
why.
Not in the original?
Apparently not. Apparently, because I'd even thought about that. I was like, what did they add in here? And apparently there were a lot of things like that. Certain items, skeletal structures and whatnot that you can have.
Okay.
I didn't know that. This was the base game for me as everything that I got. So I'm unfamiliar with all this other stuff. So, yeah, there was that. I did beat that, got that all done. So I'm going to bring these up because we don't normally talk about mobile games all that much, but I played these on mobile at the hospital, and this is where I wish I would have probably played them a lot more had I had a charger because, it's going to kill my phone, and I couldn't have that. Yeah. I played Very Little Nightmares, which I'm a fan of Little Nightmares.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was the same thing.
Same kind of idea, but it's more like a touchscreen puzzle. The way they're structured up on your phone, like, long ways. And you can kind of, some of the rooms are a little bit bigger, but you can have to kind of touch to get what you're doing, try to figure out where you need to go. And it's pretty much to move your character, make them do this, make them do that. So it's very simple, but there is a puzzle element to it, and it's not always... It's not those bullshit puzzles. It's all there if you just pay attention. So it's a very cleverly crafted puzzle game that you just kind of touch and move and take care of. So I played probably the most with that and had the most fun. Again, probably would have played it much, much longer had I had my phone charger, which my dumbass did not.
Well, you also didn't know you'd be there that long.
I did not. I will never make this mistake ever again. I'm taking bags to the hospital from here on.
Always know if there's a surgery, it probably 8 hours sounds about right, no matter how little it is. Because, there's a lot of prep and who knows how fast you wake up.
That's true.
Although they should have warned you.
So I know you've mentioned playing this game, and I wanted to try it out since Netflix was offering it up. And I think... Did they offer up I don't remember. But I know I got this one off of Netflix. Was 12 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand what the hell to do. It might be easier on a console or something, but on the phone, it was just... I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's pretty much just finding different pieces to know why you're stuck in this loop.
Yeah.
To kind of break out of that loop and learn more about who you are, why you're in this situation, how your wife fits in, all this kind of stuff. So I'll admit, even I was kind of confused for a good chunk of time until I started to realize what you need to click on. And sometimes you might have to do it again. Because maybe you did a thing and now clicking on it will reveal something else. So it can be frustrating.
Yeah, it felt a little like I don't know what I'm doing wrong and I'm just going in circles, repeating the day. And then I would try to find new things and it would just start over again. I was like, son of a bitch, I don't know what I did wrong or what I need to do different. And I don't know. I got tired of it pretty quick.
Yeah, it can finally wear on you. Yeah. I agree.
So another one that I tried, and I feel like I've tried this before, but I never really gave it much of a shot. So I was really trying to give it some time. And I know that this is a frustrating game for a lot of people, and that is Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
Oh, yeah, no.
And on the phone, I was trying, and I was doing this little thing, and I was doing pretty good. And I got up somewhere, and I was like, all right. And then, of course, I'd tumble, and then I'd go back to it again. And I felt like I was doing all right. And then I would fall.
Yeah.
And then, like, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Too much for me. I'd get too mad.
I do appreciate the commentary, though. Because it's pretty much pointing out the very thing that you're going through in a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I could ever recommend that one.
Right.
Unless you have the willpower to just be like, I'm going to beat this game no matter what.
Yeah. Watch a trailer and then know your own, I guess, mental capacity for things frustrating.
But I highly recommend Little Nightmares, or Very Little Nightmares, on your mobile device. It is not a console game; it is a mobile phone device game. So definitely check that out if you can. But everything else that I played, we'll talk about a little later. So
excellent.
You've got some news. Hit me.
We do. We got our work a little cut out for us today. There's a good amount of stuff to chat about this week. You know how I always like to get like the garbage stuff out of the way early, So I don't know that this is garbage or not, but you can kind of see where maybe Microsoft is making some plays, trying to hear some assurances when we buy all the things that your games we'll still let you guys have your games. So confirming that they had signed a 10-year contract with Nintendo. Now, the article I was reading, I think, is a little deceiving because the way they were making it sound like Xbox is going into this, or Microsoft with Nintendo, promising that Xbox games will come to the Switch, or I guess a Nintendo console, for the next 10 years. But if you really look at it, I think they're more talking about the Call of Duty games. Whereas I think one of them have already been on the Switch, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think some of them were starting to go there. So I think it's more or less like Call of Duty, although like, why was Sony not in this?
Right.
Like, why wouldn't they get Call of Duty for 10 years? I don't know. But Brad Smith, vice chairman of Microsoft, swears this is binding contract that, promises Xbox games and Activision games. But again, I'm still thinking it's more just Call of Duty at this time, to go, back and forth on those consoles. So I was a little concerned why Sony wasn't in there, or like we're signing a 10-year contract. Although, you know how I feel about a timed contract. Why not just say this is how it is from here moving forward, and that we won't be taking it back, because in 10 years you might want to just leave it on your console and you'll have every right to, because you own it. I don't know. I think you should just put it in ink that you're going to put your stuff cross multiplayer, because that's kind of one of the bigger concerns here, is that you're gobbling up all of the studios.
Yeah.
And again, as much as I was more excited for just hoping the Activision Blizzard people could get, just a better workplace, I still agree with the whole, you're gobbling everything, and I don't know. So part of me wonders if this timing is just to try to make them look a little better with some of these like global regulators that are starting to parse out the different pieces that you might be allowed to buy, but not all. Like, look at us being a good guy and offering this 10-year exclusivity. I don't know. Do you think it would have been in talks well before now? Or
well, they've always seemed like they've had some sort of relationship, just weirdly, that you would kind of see, because we've seen this in the years past, where it would always be like Microsoft and Nintendo are kind of doing this little thing off to the side, and be like, what is this? And it's always been something kind of minor, but it's always kind of been there. It's like,
oh yeah, wasn't Halo guy even one of their Smash something? I don't remember if it was racing or fighting, or
was he? He may have been. I haven't played
Correct
Smash
me if
in a
I'm
while.
wrong, siblings.
But,
anyway, but yeah.
Even take a look at the Rare deal. I mean, they had to have gotten the rights back from Microsoft, from Rare, to do even GoldenEye on the Switch.
True, yeah.
And then you go back to all the other Switch games that Rare used to own and how they've kind of worked that deal out. I don't know. They feel like they've had some good working relationship, and this just seems to be yet another wrinkle to it where they're just like, hey, here's another thing we're doing for Nintendo because they're our buddy.
Right. Well, maybe Sony's more of a competitor that, I mean, if you think about it, to directly with the Xbox and the PlayStation, maybe.
Because
again, not knocking on Switch, but just the power usage. Is
exactly. Because think about it from that perspective. Sony is the threat to business. Nintendo, not so much. They know what Nintendo is, so extending them an olive branch and giving them things, sure, it's fine, but
a good guy.
They're not going to have... No one's going to buy a Switch for Call of Duty. You know?
Oh, like just for that game? Probably
exactly.
Not.
Like if you're a Call of Duty fan, you're going to get the powerhouse. You want to see it good. But then they just say, like, well, if you want to play Call of Duty, here it is over here. If you're on that console, now you don't have to worry about it over here. You can. But, you know, if you've got that.
It is smart because, again, if somebody bought the Switch, they're probably playing more Nintendo first-party games. You know, that's what draws you to Nintendo. Totally fair. And then, oh, well, I've never played Call of Duty, and it does kind of look fun.
And then they throw
now
in
that it's on my console.
They throw in a few Mario-themed items and stuff like that. And be like,
yeah, exclusive to you.
Yeah. So then that entices those people who are not typically Call of Duty fans to maybe try out Call of Duty because they're like, look, there's Mario hats and shit. It's like, and they're gullible to buy it.
Well, every year or every other, you know, whichever new rules they decided for that. So yeah, it sounds like, I guess, Switch, if you're on PC, Steam will still get the Call of Duties and stuff like that as well. Although I was wondering, because, you know, with Xbox having their own storefront and stuff now, too, were they going to take away from Steam? I don't know. This is all so weird. No. So we'll see. So there you go. If you're on the Switch and you like Call of Duty, congrats. It sounds like at least for the next 10 years you're set up. If all of this goes through, I guess, still, too.
Sure.
Like, well, I mean, they have Call of Duty now, so I guess they can still do this part, but I don't know. Part of me is wondering if it's like, to the regulators, like, look, we're trying to make sure everybody gets to play.
That could definitely be part of the deal because, again, don't see them as a threat, but then you offer that up and then it looks like you're look, we're playing fair.
To me, it's still sus that you put a timer on it. That's all I'm going to say. But keeping on with Xbox, though, and this happened last week, but I kind of wanted to chat about it with you. So I left it in. So the Xbox maker tells UK that it expects to see a title's decline in base game sales for their Game Pass for games about a year following their inclusion into the subscription service. Now, this was something that I feel like I've mentioned to you about how I was wondering if that was making game sales suffer, because if you had Game Pass, you've probably played the game when it was on Game Pass. So then when it's off Game Pass, what are the likelihoods that people were buying the game after that? If you were a subscriber, right? So the UK Competition and Markets Authority's provisional report on Microsoft Activision Blizzard's acquisition includes an admission from Microsoft that putting games into its Game Pass subscription service does cause a decline in sales of the game itself within the same year it released on its service. So it looks like that might be another kind of gobbling up a situation, getting the money from it, and then, you know, I was always curious about this. Now, I know not everyone's going to operate like me, because I'll admit, AAA, I'll play on Game Pass all day long. I don't give two craps about y'all anymore. AAA, whatever. The indie games that come on there, if I want them, I still go buy them. Some part of me just always had this feeling that these indie teams weren't going to be making the same kind of cash off of it that AAA would. Or it would be more detrimental to them. So like Inku Lunati, it came out on Game Pass. I still went to Steam and bought it. You know, the FMVs that have been coming on Game Pass, I still went to, well, granted, I'm sorry, I know. I'm going to your competitor and I bought it, but that's just where all my shit is right now. I'm kind of sad about that because, other people aren't even going to think about it, you know. They're not as closely connected with the fact that it is an indie game, what size the team is. They're just games. And that's fair.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs to waterboard themselves with all of the politics going on in the space and just enjoy a game. But I feel like that might be detrimental, you think?
We have seen this before where certain games like Stray, for example. Now, granted, that may have had a slightly larger budget than your typical indie game, but I feel like it's still from an indie team. And then that got put onto PlayStation Plus. There is a new game that I saw that we'll probably talk about later that I did notice when they announced the PlayStation Plus games for March. It is on there. And I thought, okay. Because it did have this very indie feel, like it was meant for that. Mm-hmm. So to see it being offered up immediately without having time to get like a sales base, it makes me wonder if there is a deal, like you said. Is there some deal where they get a pay cut or a chunk of change, I guess, up front and say, hey, we want to offer this up because we believe in it. We think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. So here's you some money that'll cover however much, because it has to be a substantial amount. They have to have some sort of understanding about how much money they're going to make or they think they'll make. So like an estimated projection. So do you think that, say 1 million players are going to buy this game? So you have to compensate them for that amount.
Right.
But I don't think they're thinking that high, though.
I'm sure not. Yeah.
So it's a crapshoot, honestly, because they have to think long term. In the moment, is that going to be viable for us to continue on?
Sure.
Will we feel like we've made a profit in some way to offer it up so they can offer it up on this Game Pass or whatever it may be?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it is a gamble because on one hand, you are a small independent game.
You want your name out there.
So you need something to kind of boost it up. And Sony can do that, or even Xbox can do that for your game. But at the same time, your trailer, your presentation could have won the hearts of everybody, and you could have been sitting on a bigger gold mine than you thought. Yeah. But then now people are like, oh shit, I'm going to go get that. Pass. Or maybe it's per download. I don't know.
Right. I was kind of hoping it was something per download. I mean, I've never seen a contract, obviously, that they've made with a developing team to have put their game on their platform. I mean, I feel like it has to be a pretty significant amount if in the report Microsoft actually redacted the percentage decline that it presented. So I feel like it has to be significant if they're redacting the actual percentage. I could be wrong. I could just be cynical, but feels like it's got to be significant if you're not going to tell us. So it does their internal analysis. It does show that there is a decline in the base game sales 12 months following their addition to the Game Pass. And I see part of me, wasn't it like Phil Spencer that was saying however many years ago that it would not 100%, we promise it's not, so it's like, are you just like lying to all these people now to get their games? I go to the dark place, unfortunately, when it comes to larger companies and screwing people over for money. Again, I'm more concerned about the indies. Right. I want them to get their due. If you enjoyed it, some way for them to be able to continually make these things. But yeah, I was pretty sure Phil Spencer was like, it'll boost sales, and none of us, we don't know. We don't know. But it does sound like it's cannibalizing sales. So I don't know. Take that with what you will. But again, I know me. Yeah. So I know I'm using it just to play the AAAs that I'm never going to spend $70 on and that I probably don't play repeatedly, that I wouldn't play again. And if it's an indie I'm really into, I always just go buy it. They're never asking that much, really.
No, hardly
15,
ever.
$20, 25, I think. Maybe I feel like a lot of them could be charging more and they don't. Mm-hmm. I feel like sometimes I'm getting a more value for that $30 than I ever did. You know what? I don't know if I've paid $70 for a game yet. Honestly, it's so rare that I buy anything that's new in AAA.
I have.
Well, I'm just like, Yeah, I don't think I have yet. So anyway, I just wanted to discuss that with you because my heart always goes out to the smaller teams, and I feel like if they're redacting it, it has to be a significant percentage that I wonder if it would be worth it for indies to keep taking part in.
Sure.
Why need your name out?
Since you brought that up, I did want to kind of clarify something that I stated on the show a few weeks back, and I think maybe I had my facts. I definitely had my facts incorrect, but the article apparently just posed it wrong. Okay, so I had mentioned something about the PlayStation Plus collection being dissolved, and I thought that meant the monthly games in which they offer up. And I think that's how I framed the news because that's what I thought they meant. Right. According to the article I read, that's what it sounded like to me. That is not the case.
Oh, okay.
The PlayStation Plus collection was a certain set of games that if you were new to PlayStation Plus or you were a PlayStation Plus subscriber, these games were automatically gifted to you as like, these are yours to have in your library. So it was like Horizon, Death Stranding, those are two that just popped into my head. A few other bigger games.
Yeah,
but it were some. I think Uncharted was one of them.
Oh, like the Legacy Collection or something. I think I saw. Yeah.
So these were just games that they said these are yours. That you can have them, and then if you want to have all these others in the library, you can go through there, and of course they change. But these are your core games. They're yours. They're getting
as long
rid
as you
of
have
that
the service, right?
Right. So this collection of games is dissolving. That's what's going away. So you'll still get the other games, but I don't know if these will remain. That's the thing that I feel like I still haven't gotten clarification on, because Death Stranding, for example, that was a game that I just played. So that was part of that collection. If I was playing that mid-game and then they just said, boop, would that mean that, did I lose that? Or because it's already in my library, do I still get to keep it?
Yeah, I feel like, at least it used to be anyway.
Yeah.
As long as you had the service and it was in your library, you had access to it. And if you ever canceled your subscription, then...
Which is fair.
They're gone.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know since the new thing. That would be interesting to find out. We should do a deeper dive so we can see what's going on there.
So, that I just wanted to clarify that when I read that. I was like, okay, well then, good. Because I still like the monthly games. Even if I don't play them, even if sometimes it's just like, it's nice to know that should something come around, and I'm like, oh, cool, I wanted to play that. Then it's there, and I can play it whenever I take the notion.
Like the Quarry. When I was just looking that up, I was like, oh my God, does that say download? Yeah. And my hub's like, yeah, it does look like it says download and not buy. And I'm like, well, holy shit, here we go.
Yep.
I was just going to see if it was on sale yet. But okie doke. So this other story I just really kind of wanted to talk about because I think it's hilarious considering the source that's talking about this. So I'm going to butcher the name. I apologize. It is what it is. Hidetaka?
Sounds right.
Suhiro? Let's go with that. The game director behind Deadly Premonition and Deadly Premonition 2. So I'm pretty sure we've all at least heard of those games, right? So reading a little article about a pretty rough stance that he takes on free post-launch updates, claiming that devs should be charging for them, for all of them. So he's a game director. Now, just like if you heard what I said for a minute, the game director of Deadly Premonition and Deadly Premonition 2, saying that post-launch updates should be charged for. Now, if most of you are screaming, going, but he made Deadly Premonition, then yeah, you probably said the same thing I did, which is why I find this hilarious, because those games never came out in a playable state, ever. And so my debate would be, do you mean like you just never want to fix the game? Or if you're talking content DLC, maybe I'd be willing to have a nuanced conversation with you about whether people should be charged for a post-launch update. But the way the article is making it sound like he's just saying, updates. And then if I look at the track record and how he's never, or his studios at least, have ever gone back and fixed their games, maybe now we know why he thinks that we should pay for the rest of the game instead of, but they've never come out in a playable state. Never. Deadly Premonition has been on Steam for I don't even know how long and has never been playable since it went up there. It has not been updated. It's not been touched. I still went back just for funsies to read if any new reviews had popped up on Steam since then. And there's plenty of people going, hey, when is this going to get patched? And we're like, oh, you poor little soul. He's not fixing it.
No.
It's never going to get fixed. So I just found it hilarious considering the source that you never actually gave us a game that worked in the first place, but you're going to complain that we want post-launch updates. Like, we kind of just want you to make it playable. We liked your game enough to play it. I even said the first one, even though it was broken as like the Twin Peaks feel that it was based off of and everything, the story was just bizarre enough for someone like me to stay invested. I think weird things can be fun like that. But, yeah, I just thought it was hilarious that this guy's going, yeah, nobody should get any post updates free. And I'm like, you've never made a game that worked. So you need to sit down and shut up.
Right.
Sorry, buddy. Anyway. And just to tack on, he has a newest work that came out called The Good Life. And actually put out a $10 update, which appears to have the true ending, according to players.
Screw you.
Yeah. And of course, was plagued with technical issues when it came out, which I am not shocked by this. Again, Deadly Premonition and Deadly Premonition 2. I'm just going to keep saying that. Since they were such a huge mess. Which those two games have actually been described as one of the most shambolic final products we've seen in modern gaming with regards to stability.
I believe it.
Yep. And I couldn't agree more. It was really a hot mess. Yeah. So there you go, people. The person who can't put out a completely finished, stable game thinks we need to pay for any DLC, patch updates, anything moving forward. Just thought that would be hilarious to throw out there.
Nope.
That of all people. Let's see here. Let's move on to State of Play. I'm looking at the time. We got our work cut out for us when it comes to State of Play. There was a few things that I saw in there that looked like fun. Mm-hmm. That we got some deeper looks into a few of them. A couple of new games that caught my eye that I didn't know were coming out, and I'm kind of weirded about. And then the controversy surrounding one, which I think is hilarious. So, let's see here. I'm gonna do those ones.
Okay.
Last. Yeah, let's do it that way. So, did you see Humanity?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're a dog, it looks like. And to me, it just seems like it's a puzzle game where the gamer looks like you could also create and design your own levels at some point also eventually. But it seems to kind of lean on the idea that humanity has just like lost their sense of purpose and this dog's kind of herding you back on track. You as the dog, or possibly guide them towards the light, pillars of light, towards, I don't know. The wolf's issue commands.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cute. I don't know. What did you think of this one? It looks kind of like a chaos.
It gave me Lemming vibes. And
yes.
Even just the way they kind of laid it out, it seemed like it would be a very intriguing puzzle game because there seemed to be a lot of elements to it. It wasn't just, simply this or simply that. There were a lot of different things going on, whether it was just traversing one area to avoiding other people to fighting other people and just
the battles look intense.
So there were just a lot of different elements and I kept watching it going, would I play this? Maybe. And by the end of it, I was like, probably play this. I think I would play this,
I could see me sinking some time into it. Just check it out.
Just at least
I don't know for how long.
It.
Yeah.
So it definitely seemed unique enough that I would want to at least give it a shot. And then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. If you didn't watch the trailer, siblings, it definitely looks a little different than some things that I've seen before. So definitely check that one out if you hadn't already. I think our siblings are good little gamers, so they probably watch State of Play along with the rest of us.
Sure.
And then there was another standard, to me, narrative story-based game, Goodbye Volcano High. I think we saw a little bit of this before, though, because like the animal characters and everything seemed very familiar to me, as if I had seen sort of a trailer, or we have discussed that it was being made. So you have QTEs, choose from your dialogue options, move the sword. I mean, it looks like just like a coming of age story for teenagers trying to find their way in life, their final year of high school, how we're going to be a teen, transition into adult, but you play as animals.
Yeah.
So this could be hit or miss for me because, sorry, teenagers is the main focus. Sometimes it's just too obnoxious for me to get through because of how people decide to write teenagers. But it may not be. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. And this would be my wheelhouse, kind of. Like,
this was, this was from the same people that did Hatoful Boyfriend. Was that correct? Was this the one?
Oh, maybe. I should have wrote that down. Hold on. Let me go back to
I remember seeing that with one, and I feel like it was that one. Because I was very curious about it too. I appreciate like the animation and everything, like the animated cutscenes.
Yeah.
That was kind of impressive. But I know that it kind of goes back into the more dating sim type element, like Hatoful Boyfriend. So, I'm kind of with you. There's something about it, like from a gameplay perspective with the animation and everything, that was kind of intriguing enough for me to be like, maybe. But at the same time, it's not my typical game that I play. Right. So it'd be like, we'll see, where I'm at in my headspace, if I feel like playing it or not. If I'm just looking just to sit back and just hit buttons for responses, then that's sure.
If your QTEs are harder than the core, we'll already be doing better. Thank you. Like, I'm not a big gamer, but a little challenge is nice, So yeah, I June 15th, so we know we have a release date for that. I don't know. I guess it would just be another one of watch the trailer and decide. I just don't know that the story is intriguing enough for me personally, so I'll just say I'm not sure it's for me.
Right.
But a well-made narrative story-based adventure game, probably, maybe, or not adventure, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We got look at 3 new characters for Street Fighter 6. I know you were more Mortal Kombat, but I know some people who listen that enjoy the Street Fighters. So we saw Zangief. I hope I'm saying their names right.
Zangief.
Don't get mad at me. Zangief.
Geef.
Geef.
Yeah, Zangief.
Zangief. Yeah. And I even wrote that, but it seems like grief just in my head makes it whatever. That guy, big beefy dude,
the big Russian.
People Lily was another one. Her specials looked kind of fun. Yeah. And then Cammy, which I guess is our fanfare character from her nice little stretchy Archie move that she did for us. So I enjoyed the darker feel of her character, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? Are you excited for this at all? Those characters?
I mean, I haven't really been excited for a Street Fighter game in a long time. Not that I have I played my share of the game, but I guess with Mortal Kombat, the reason I kind of lean more toward it is it's not just a fighting game. Like even playing games like, what was it? Marvel versus Capcom, where they did those. I played them and I was like, yeah, this is fun. But I guess I want more than just punch, punch, kick, punch, punch, kicks, special move, win. You know, I guess with Mortal Kombat, you get a little bit more with fatalities and things like that. So you can do something. You're looking forward to that finishing moment,
So yeah, we'll see. If you're excited about that, let us know. Then we got another deeper look at Resident Evil 4. I mean, of course it looks great. Yeah. I don't know that I can complain about them doing these complete rebuilds with the graphic engines and everything. Because it looks great. I can't complain about the graphics and everything. I mean, I looked at 2 and 3. Yeah. I didn't, I wasn't,
I guess,
sad or upset or thinking they'd screw it up,
No, and I felt like there were some similar story beats. Like you saw, it was still kind of following the same narrative.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I was curious.
I saw her there.
Yeah, I was curious. Well, you have to have her there.
I know, damn.
But I was curious to know if they have made any alterations to the story, whether to accommodate maybe the gameplay style that it is now, or the cinematic scope that they have now, or if they are hitting the same, I mean, from beginning to end, same beats, just different way of telling the story.
From what I saw of the trailer, it feels the same. I mean, I didn't listen to the dialogue, of course, or hear all of that, but I was watching the trailer and could remember exactly those moments when I played the original game. So that's why I'm thinking probably, because I want to say the remake of 2 and 3 didn't really stray in the story, just how they kind of told it at the beginning parts.
Right.
I'm trying to remember if in the original, you played both. It's been so long since I played it on the N64.
Sure. No, 2.
You played both before, or was it just her?
No, I played, now in Resident Evil 2, you definitely you got to play as both Leon and, Claire. Was it Claire?
Yeah.
So it was like either or, and then the stories you could see where they'd kind of intertwine at some point, and that's how they kind of did that there. I'm trying to 3's the one I'm not as familiar with. Like, I played it once, and I don't even think I've played the remake.
I think I've only played the remake. But I don't recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know for a fact I've played the remake. So, super short. Maybe the original was super. I don't know. Considering the length of the other ones, I think I thought it would be longer.
Sure. No, it's... I feel like it's funny about 3 that everybody's always like, oh, yeah, that's where Nemesis comes in. Oh, but yet no one really talks about the game as a whole. It's just that one thing. Because I don't remember a lot about it. I know more about 1, 2, and even 0 than I do about 3.
Yeah. Well, I kept hearing rumors about Code Veronica maybe getting that treatment and all that kind of stuff, which would be kind of interesting. I don't know. But at least we had Mercenaries mode confirmed, you know. I know we were talking about that, and we're pretty sure that it would go in, but...
I mean,
so
that's where the mode started, was 4. So if you didn't put it in, that would be like a huge middle finger.
Sure. And like, were you going to give it to us in an update later?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't trust these people. March 24th. Demo should be coming soon, according to that trailer. So we'll see if it's another one of those time trailers. Or not trailers, demo.
Yeah,
where you had like the one shot, 1 hour or 30 minutes or whatever it was, which was an interesting way to do it.
I wouldn't mind trying out a demo just simply because I'm curious how they're going to change the gameplay mechanics, because...
It's got to be smoother.
Yeah, because the first one was a little rough around the edges. And even when they tried to do updates like on the Wii or,
See, I played it on the Wii.
Yeah, it just... There were elements to it that were good, and then others not so much.
Yeah. It was a rough go. I got through it. I'm pretty sure I beat it.
Oh, yeah. I've beaten that game,
but I'm pretty sure. But it was on the Wii.
Times.
Okay, well, I only did it the once. I was happy after that that I even managed to make it. And then last one in these rounds of games, anyway, that I decided to chat with you about. Oh man, the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, right?
Yeah.
We got a really long look at this one. It was the last 10-15 minutes of the state of play. We got a lengthy look. I admit the story does look fun. I mean, I like the characters getting to play as the villains and against an evil Justice League. I mean, that's an intriguing kind of story. I think that would be fun to see play out. But as Rocksteady kept chatting about the game, and I feel other people started to feel the same way from other murmurings I saw later on, I feel live service, like coming through this so hard. And especially if I have to be online for my single player mode, you can screw all the way off.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one, because as you said, the longer they kept talking, I was starting to raise my eyebrow saying, wait a minute, I thought this was this type of game. And then you keep talking about this shit that sounds very familiar to live service games, and I don't like what you're implying.
Yeah, I don't like where this is going right now.
Yeah, it started to sound very Marvel's Avengers, and I was like,
Well, well, even at the end, I think they said something about it with your battle pass. You get these cosmetics or whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, I have a feeling that that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to try to put that up front, of course. But yeah, I just got this feeling as they went along that the transmog system might eventually be, pay for a skin if you want, or, being online for single player mode just always bothers me in any game I buy. So I'm torn. The story and stuff sounds like a lot of fun. It might be one I'd like to watch. I mean, you get to play Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Dead Sharp, and King Shark. If you want to play on the single player, supposedly you can float around between all four because AI will take over your other characters, so you can play by yourself, or you can jump into a match with your friends if you got them,
and then
they can all play them.
As they were talking about the characters, and this is where again started to sound very much Avengers-esque. They were just like, and in the future we'll have new characters for you to play. And it was like, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. It seemed like it was double-edged on that one. Or I'm like, man, the story, the characters, all of that seems fun. Even the combat seems fun, but other stuff.
In the moment, I mean, the more you start to observe and examine what you're looking at, it just doesn't seem like the game that we were being promised.
No. So, I don't know, siblings. What do you think about that one? Was this one you were looking forward to? Did it disappoint you? Was this about exactly matched what your expectations were going to be for this game? I don't know. Let us know.
I'm sure someone out there is going, no, this is exactly what I expected.
No, for sure. Coming out of them. Anyway. And so then, of course, we got some look at some new PSVR2 games because, of course, that's a thing that happened. If you all are keeping track of the Sony news. So I figured I'd save some of the VR titles here for last, and then we'll figure out what we're doing from there. Well, go ahead. It looked like you're about to say something.
Yeah, well, before you go into that, because I don't think this was a VR title per se, but this was the game that I wanted to talk about, and I hate when they do this where I don't know how to pronounce a thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm just going to say Takaya.
Oh.
Taka.
Yes.
Takia.
Yes.
Takia. Takia, whatever.
Chia, I think.
Chia.
I think it might be Chia. I think
with
we
the
might
T
ignore
being
the T.
silent, so I'm not just... But why not just... I don't know. I don't understand languages.
I don't either, and English is hard.
This was the game that was coming to PlayStation Plus, and there was something about it, as I was watching the trailer, I was like, it has a very indie feel. It seems intriguing, but at the same time, I was kind of pulling back away from it because I was like, well, maybe, I don't know if it'll have the substance that I'm looking for. I don't know. But I was debating on it, and then when I saw it on PlayStation Plus, I was like, well, screw it. Cool. I'll just add it, and then I can play it.
Yeah.
And it looks like it took the risk away. So then that kind of goes back to my point, Maybe they didn't sell it well enough, but it is probably a good game that Sony was like, no, let's offer this up because people are going to miss out because we can't, it's not, you're not hooking people, but we believe in it. And I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a very bright, colorful puzzle game.
Yeah. It looks like there's something there. Kind of like Kenna and the Bridge of Spirits. There was something about that when you first saw it. It was like, oh man, there's something there.
It does look gorgeous.
So I think that's the same with this, how I feel about it. There's something there that I want to try. And hopefully it will be fulfilling in some way. But I just want to touch on that before we went along to the VR titles.
Yes. We had some of them look pretty fun. I don't know. Well, the first one that they showcased, I think it was kind of opened the whole state of play even, was the Foglands. This one actually did look like it could be a lot of fun, a steampunkish shooter type. However, the large spiders would be a nope for me. We have an arachnid mode. That would be great. But it's been so long since I VR'd. It would take a while for me to get my legs back, I would think, on this one. But what did you think? I thought it was just an interesting... I liked the I don't know, ambiance they created. It seemed kind of fun.
I think the aesthetic kind of got me in a little bit. One thing I was kind of hoping to see with the VR titles is something new, something fresh.
How are you taking advantage of the hardware? Yeah,
right. Because the one thing that I've started to notice about a lot of these games is there is a pattern of what kind of game you're offering. And sometimes they don't seem to have any kind of ingenuity in place. It's just like, all right, well, Dad, you got a gun and you go bang, 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 and see, haha, that's what this is for. Or we're just going to have you sit in a room and pick shit up and throw it and be like, look at me, it's all VR, baby.
Right.
So that's why I'm looking for something that looks intriguing.
Right.
And this, it does kind of have those elements of the other games, but they're putting it in a different kind of package, and the aesthetic.
Yeah, I really liked the aesthetic.
Yeah, it's selling me on that. So a good maybe.
Yeah, solid maybe.
Yeah.
Check it out. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see anything outside of that seemed so new to it to continue on with. But the other one I saw in there was Green Hell, which I think is, I shouldn't say I think. I know for a fact was a flat game that came out a few years back. So it's being clearly made into VR. So if you like survival games and maybe you already played the pancake game or whatever we call flat games now, you might like it in VR. I mean, it looks like it's a little bit more polished up. But yeah, I hate to knock on games or whatever, but to me, it just kind of looked like other survival games that I played in the past, like The Forest. And heck, The Forest even has its sequel coming out, Sons of the Forest. Or did it come out already? I don't know. Either way. Try to survive in the Amazon rainforest kind of situation. So if you like survival, I don't see why you wouldn't like it. A little bit different mechanics for you in VR. But I don't know. What did it do anything for you?
I mean, clearly it didn't, because I'm having vague recollections of watching the trailer. Because I was looking it up, and even when I saw it, I'm sitting there going, oh, yeah. And that's about where I left it.
Yeah, I don't see anything special really coming out. And again, it's a game that's been out already for a little bit, so there's no surprises there. And then Synapse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I first noticed when I went back to watch the trailer that it was muted for copyright, which I found hilarious. So I had to go back to the Sony page. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I over here? It's because, why are you going to make a trailer you're going to copyright? But I don't. Anyway.
Oh, shit.
I don't see why, because it was all like pew pew sounds. So I'm like, I didn't know, gun sounds are copyrighted. Anyway. I mean, I thought it looked kind of fun. Do you think the game was on rails?
Kind of had that sense about it. Maybe just the way they advertise it. Maybe it's not, but it really felt like it was. Maybe a section is.
Maybe. Yeah. See, now I personally don't mind that if the game is fun and fast paced, because I loved Blood and Truth. That was on rails, and some other action games that I played like that on PC VR was on rails that I loved, because I could still just kind of dodge around, grab my gun, do all of that stuff. So it was fine for me, not necessarily also having to find my way.
Right.
The shooting did seem kind of satisfying. And I like having magic and stuff, because you're just not magic in real life, or science, whatever it is that's going on there. Science, magic. I mean, it's from End Dreams, who did Far Cry VR. So if you liked that, then maybe, Far Cry VR Dive into Insanity. You just got to be specific, since I know there's so many Far Cry games.
That's true.
But I don't know, what do you think on this one? Looks like I might have enjoyed it more than you.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time I see one of these dusky futurist, I don't know, just like the cover art, I'm looking at it and I would immediately go,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like it looks like the rest.
Yeah. It's like no one's doing. It's why I'm just so hell-bent. You have to do something to wow me. Stop making it look like everything else. That's why I don't want to see another Call of Duty, or when they're just like, here's
Here's guns. Cool.
Here's guns. We're doing super zombies, or we're knights of a thing, and here I don't know. Just it all looks the same.
Yeah.
And when I see that, and you're not doing anything to impress me beyond, oh yeah, this looks like that game and that game and that game.
It still could be fun, but
aesthetically, it just looks dull and boring. And I've seen this 100 times over.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you like Isaac Asimov, that'll draw you in more too, because it was based off of, one of his books. And I know the Hubs read him, know. So maybe if you're an Isaac Asimov fan,
I know
VR fan, that seems like a very niche group of people. But
sure. No, I did remember that they kind of pushed that as their selling points, like, hey, Asimov's universe.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Gotta ride something, I guess.
Yeah.
So there was only 2 more, so I figured may as well go through them. Yeah, we're doing fine. Let's just do this last one. Before Your Eyes. That seemed more like an experience to me than a full game. So admittedly, this doesn't look like one I would be interested in. You know what? I have got to correct myself. Journey to Foundation is the game with Isaac Asimov. I totally wrote that backwards. So let's do that. I put my one line should have been below my thing. You guys, I don't even write my own notes to make sense for myself. So I apologize. Let's correct that while we have the chance to. Journey to Foundation is the one based off of Isaac Asimov.
That's where I was getting confused, because I was
I wrote
that
sentence above my title for some reason, and then I'm like, that didn't sound right, but here we are. I can confuse myself in an instant. But I did write this note. Now it's coming back to me. It wasn't very smooth sequences. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Like there was some tearing and some stuff going on in your trailer, which is concerning.
Yeah. No, that's bad.
I can see moments where it seemed like tracking was lost.
Yeah, granted, early design, but you're trying to sell the game. You need your best shots in your trailer, not that. So
yeah, it was a little concerning to me because I rewound it a little bit and I slowed it down, and sure enough, it just looks like either tearing or where you would be losing tracking, because I'm sure we've all played VR where where you're holding something but then your hand looks like it's actually 2 or 3 inches below it, like it wasn't done correctly, or what's the word I'm looking for? Scan yourself back in, and
I guess I don't know the word.
Calibrate?
There you go. Sure,
yeah,
calibrate. That sounds fine.
So I don't know. They said they're aiming for a fall 2023 release. So I don't know. It needs some more love. If that's what I'm seeing in the trailer, that's all I'll say. So apologies. Journey to Foundation is the Isaac Asimov based on Foundation.
Yeah. Now that
not
did
Synapse,
kind of
it's its own thing.
That one did kind of intrigue me, but again, it tears and whatnot. It was like
Yeah, in the trailer. I was really surprised. And I'm like, and you're trying to sell your new VR. Yo! Yo! Not this one. So now Before Your Eyes, which was the last one that I believe was showcased as far as a VR game title, which to me looked more like an experience than a game.
Sure.
Not one I'd necessarily be interested in either, but I can see its charm.
Sure. Yeah.
Relaxing VR is valid.
Maybe. It's a maybe. If he happened to be offered to me and for free or something, maybe.
I mean, Skybound is behind it, so there's that. I'm trying to keep an open mind, but I don't know. When it says emotional first-person narrative, I like to try to stay dead inside because I don't like to cry. So I always try to not put sad things in my eye holes. But if you like to have emotions and go through that and it's cathartic for you, then, there you go.
Sure.
But I think this is also a remake from a game that's been out for a little bit, where you had like a blink interaction where you could, if you turned on your webcam, apparently, you could scan yourself in and do that with the regular game too. But now with the VR, it should be tracking your eyeballs. So if you blink or something. Although, would you notice? Because you're blinking.
You never know.
Because I feel like my eyes were closed for that second anyway. Would I notice if it happened in game? These are the questions that I have.
That's true. It's very true.
My eyes are closed. How good is this feature to me, really? But anyway, I don't know. What'd you think?
Yeah, maybe. The design aesthetic felt familiar. Like I'd seen that in other games before, but not in a bad way.
There was another one, June.
Oh, last day of June?
Yeah, kind of maybe a little.
A little of, what's that other, the Goose Game kind of where.
Oh, maybe, with the coloring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are various aesthetics that I've seen in other games. And again, not in a bad way, familiar in that aspect to where it's like, oh, yeah, okay. So it's a little inviting in that way, but, kind of seen it before in a way, so not in a bad way, but.
So I mean, kind of a weird, I guess, first lineup for, I guess this is what you get right now if you have PSVR2. These are the games that are coming out.
Sure.
And then unless there was a game that I skipped. I know I skipped Destiny and stuff because I don't think we play it. And maybe you all do, but Destiny 2 Lightfall, that's a thing launching this week, I guess. If you like it, there you go. You got some more stuff. And of course, Naruto Boruto. I don't know that we know anything about this. Guys.
My wife knows about Naruto, and even she's watching it going, they got voice actors back.
So you did that.
That's about it. And I was like,
you did a thing. Good for you.
And
Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to PlayStation 5, if you were looking forward to that too.
I'm sure somebody out there so mad that I snoozed on that, but I'm sorry, nothing about it appeals to me in the slightest.
No, it's not mine either. But the only other little quick get that I wanted to mention last week too, did you see that Sony is developing wireless earbuds for the PS5? I kind of love this idea.
I kind
of love this. Yeah. So supposedly could be out towards the end of the fiscal year of 23. So like March. Well, I guess April 23 to like March of 24. I think that's their fiscal year or whatever. Anyway, called Project Nomad for now, but it looks to aim at to have like a 5-hour battery life, charging case, probably what you would get with wireless earbuds already.
Yeah.
But I still read in here needing a wire for updates, and I'm like, Sony, for the love of God, have you heard of Wi-Fi?
Hey,
it's been around a while. Why are we still doing this?
Especially considering you've launched a beta for the PlayStation 5 to where you can now wirelessly update your controller. Let's get on board, man.
Let's stop it with the wires. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Jesus Christ.
But, when I was reading the release date time, I feel like it's around the same time they were talking about, like, your kind of piecemeal PlayStation where like you can get the detachable CD drive if you wanted or this. So it's like, are we, I don't know, is it going to be some bigger launch towards the end of the year that we know of with all of this stuff? Anyway, I just thought it was neat to finally get like a wireless option for console. They might have them on other ones, but
if they're going earbuds and they are of top quality, I mean, granted, I know they're probably going to cost upwards of $100 for
at least,
because
I'd think a bill $30 at least. But yeah,
I have two sets of earbuds. One was a cheap Amazon branded wireless. They kind of look like the Apple where they've got the little I don't know what the hell you call them. Looks like you got shit hanging out of your ears.
Oh yeah, the Apple iBuds or whatever. Yeah,
they have a very similar design aesthetic. Sound is kind of like, it's fine. It's manageable for whatever. If you're just doing something quick and you just want some quick earbuds, it's fine.
Sure.
But then I thought, you know what? Let's invest a little deeper. I want to get some genuine earbuds that are going to cost a little extra. I did my research, tried to find what I wanted to get. Got some Galaxy earbud, whatever the more recent type were at the time when I got them.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different. Wholly different.
They're really
the sound.
The sound quality?
So immersive. The setting on there where you can kind of do the noise reduction and everything like that.
Oh God, I love that.
Like there's even times that I've listened to songs I have heard time and again, and I hear new things through these buds, whether it's like another instrument or something in the background that I've never heard before, and now I can hear it. And it just blows my mind sometimes. I'm like, holy shit, how have I never heard this before? And now I hear it.
Good quality sound, man.
So if Sony can do that, I'm in.
Especially with all the extra stuff that they have going on in there, because sometimes there's stuff that's only coming out of your controller.
Yeah. So
like that sound. Yeah. I wonder how you could do that to make it in the bud too.
I would be all in for it. Absolutely. Yeah. If they put it to that quality. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
I hope so. I mean, I guess we'll see later on this year if it actually releases. I don't know what it'll eventually be named. I just know Project Nomad is what it is doing right now. And if you could actually get 5 hours out of it, I think that would be pretty solid too, honestly.
For sure.
I mean, that seems about fair for wireless earbuds these days, but I don't know. It depends on, I guess, how long you're really using stuff. But that's all I got. And I feel like that would be great to go into I should see. Do you have anything else before you start your headliner today?
I don't. We're going to jump right into it.
Let's do it. I'm excited. I am excited for this one.
Talking about the PlayStation VR2, baby. And you're probably thinking, how the fuck?
Right?
Well, you see, Sony came knocking on my door a couple of months back and said, hey, do you want one of these PlayStation VR2s we're coming out with? Because if you do, we've got a ticket for you. And here's what's going to happen is you got 72 hours to make up your mind. And if you want it, cool. If you don't.
Oh, I love that.
So I thought about it. I did. And I was like, I got 3 days to figure this out. All right. And I figured it out. And I pre-ordered, and I got it. So this is not a sponsored video. I bought this with my own monies, and I know it was expensive because I didn't just get the base. I got a whole bundle.
You just did it all.
Yeah, I was just like, shit, if I'm going to do it, let's do it upright. Let's get the whole thing. So I got...
This is why you work.
Exactly.
I say.
If I didn't feel like I could afford it, I wouldn't have done it.
Exactly.
So I got the actual... head system itself with the controllers, got a charging dock, and then a code for Horizon Call of the Mountain, which I will talk about along with some other games, because I didn't just stick with one thing. I wanted to try a little variety as I did it. So getting it out of the box, you've seen the unboxings. You can go on IGN, see all that crap. Mm-hmm. You get what you get. The controllers, they're well designed. You see that kind of more Oculus, I guess, or like Meta Quest kind of stuff where it kind of wraps around your hand. Mm-hmm. Feels very intuitive, but I'm not used to that. Okay? So that's something I'm going to talk about a little later. Is it felt like a new learning curve for me since I was only using these stupid ass wands that they made me
for all
use.
this time. Yeah.
So now this has now become something that I'm having to relearn in some aspects. Mm-hmm. Putting on the headset, I don't know why my dumbass was not getting it because when I first put it on, I felt something jabbing into my forehead. I was like, this is not comfortable at all. And then I readjusted it and then I was like, oh, there we go. So I just didn't have it on my head right. It fits wonderfully. It doesn't feel weighty or anything like that.
Light.
I guess no different than... I would feel slightly different. It doesn't feel as weighty as the other one did. Like it feels like it's lost a little
even
bit.
Lighter? Ooh.
I wouldn't say too much lighter, but for the extended amount of time that I've been in it, it never felt like it started to weigh down my head.
Like your neck was starting to get a little sore.
Yeah. You got to a point where it's like, oh shit, it's just feeling too heavy. And there could be a lot to the connective portion of that, which we've seen, or you may have seen, which is just the one cable, the USB-C cable. Mm-hmm. It's just that simple. Plug and play. You have removed all this extra box bullshit that you don't need.
The camera, right?
Granted, and the camera, thank God.
Yeah.
So, on one hand, I do appreciate that they've simplified it, but we're still connected. Now, that being said, there is a benefit to being connected in what you get graphically on the inside, because it's not having to run through the headset itself. It's still running via the PlayStation, being then projected here. So I get the benefits of being connected. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get to that in a moment. As you get it on, you'll have to go through, obviously, your calibration process, your setup process. I got a little excited early on. They will tell you, don't put this shit on yet. It's just like, just work through all this other stuff. We'll tell you when to put it on, because I put it on one and like, hey, take it off.
And they're like, nah.
And I was like, all right. I was like, I just thought it's time. And it's like, just wait a minute.
Listen
like,
to
all right,
us.
fine. So you'll go through the entire calibration process. When you put it on your head, it still kind of has the same little spot where you can kind of, you have the button in the back where it pulls it out.
Okay.
And then even kind of where you can adjust the visor, you have a little button. I think it's on top now.
Okay.
So you have these two basic functions that were very present in the original PSVR. So you set it up, get it adjusted. The new addition that I love is the lens adjuster, because it adjusts side to side. So if maybe your eyes are not parted the same way as someone else, they can adjust it to
you mean the OSI setting?
Yeah. So you can kind of pinch it closer to your eyes, or you can kind of move it out. So essentially it's your focus. So you're going to sit there and adjust it to where you are starting to see. You adjust it until it feels absolutely clear for you.
Can you move it forward and backward? Like if you wore glasses?
That would be where your visor adjustment would kind of come in. So you would set it in.
I feel like that OSI setting, I hope I'm saying that right, was on my Oculus. I thought the original PlayStation had that.
It did not. No.
Oh.
Because that was always something that always frustrated me, is because when you would kind of set it on your face.
Oh, you had to have it like just right.
Yeah. And you're always kind of doing this little thing where you're adjusting it, saying it's like, oh man, it looks kind of fuzzy. What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
But with this, you can kind of adjust. Again, you have your face, get that where you want it. And then if you feel that's comfortable, adjust the lenses to where everything looks as clean as it's going to look for you. And just that's where it's at.
Okay, cool.
Then your next setup will be trying to get your calibration set up. I can't remember all the steps specifically in which they went into, but it was like making sure it was paired. My controllers, for some dumb reason, so if you're thinking about this, I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up. I set my controllers up before I even touched it, because I thought, well, I don't have time to really play with it at this moment, so I'm going to go ahead and put them on the charger. You will have, when you put them on, if you get the charger, I'll say it like that, because I would recommend it. Otherwise you're going to have
to cords.
Yeah, you'll have to do the USB, and you're going to have to charge them separately, one at a time. You don't want to do that. Stupid. Yeah. So there will be these little tabs that you'll have to put into the controller you put them on the charging dock. So if you put them on there first, you're going to have to take those back out to then pair the controllers on the PlayStation, because they want them wired in first.
Because of course they do.
Then you can unhook it and do that. So I didn't know if they were going to have a charge. I was like, well, let me go ahead and just plug them up, and that's that. And again, I didn't know what the process of setup would be. So I'd already put those in, put them on the charger. Now, make sure that you see a glowing light to know that it's charging. I set them on there, and I thought, all right, they're on there. They're charging. Yeah.
Walk away.
Did not pay much attention beyond that. I just thought I had it figured out. Well, apparently I didn't have them setting on there properly, because they were not charging. Because when I went to set it up, they were just like, no, these are dead. And I was like, well, dead? What?
You've been on there all day.
I just got here. What? So be sure to charge your controller before you do that. But after you do the pairing, then you have two very specific things that you have to do, which I thought were freaking amazing as far as trying to calibrate your setup. First is the eye tracking. Okay, it wants you to follow. It'll start with a little dot, and they say follow it. Follow it with your eyes, follow it with your head. Just keep your eyes on the dot. Okay. And then
So they do want you to move your head.
Yes. Not always, but it'll tell you what to do.
Okay.
But
just listen.
It just says pay attention, keep your eyes on the dot.
Okay.
And I thought, all right, fair enough. So I would just follow it around. I even at one point thought I wasn't doing it well enough. Like maybe I took my eyes off of it, or I didn't move fast. I don't know. I got paranoid. But I did that, and then they will then ask you to look at certain things to see if it calibrated properly, and it worked. And I've even checked it again just to be sure.
Nice.
Your eyes are doing the work. You have to keep that in mind. So it threw me off in a game, and I will talk about that later.
I can imagine if like you're just moving your eyes and the game goes with you. That would be kind of interesting.
The best way to really see it is like after I did the calibration and then wanted to go back and just double check it, I went back in and did the eye tracking, and they said, just look around at all the dots and see how your calibration looks. Every time my eye went to a dot, boom, 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 boom. And I was like, that's
cool.
Freaking cool. Yeah, so it is tracking my eye movements precisely. Because everywhere I looked, that's what lit up.
Nice.
Amazing.
I love it. All right.
Secondly, and you may be more familiar with this aspect than I am, but this was new for me. Room mapping. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Had not had this. This was not a thing in the PlayStation 5 or the original PlayStation VR. So this is new. So now they have a room mapper. They say stand up or sit down, whatever you want to do. Map your room and just get all the detail you can. So it doesn't matter, just everything. So it doesn't matter if there's a table in the way, whatever. Map it.
Right.
Now, after you map it, and I didn't even realize this initially, so I want to talk about this too, because this was an awesome feature after the fact, is after I had it mapped, I went back to kind of remap it again, because another feature that they will offer in your gameplay, which I don't remember in the PlayStation VR, is now you have play styles in which can be best suited for you. So you can have standing play style, a sitting play style,
nice,
or something a little bit more. Those are kind of the two basics, but I also feel like they had kind of more of an expansive play style. So if it was like you had a larger room, you could kind of calibrate to that. Does it make you to
scale better in sitting? Did you try it?
Well, I want to talk about those.
Squatty.
I will talk about those later because I did try both.
Okay.
So as you map the room, you'll get all the little details, the polygons and whatnot, and it's mapping the hell out of it. Pretty awesome. Okay. And then it will show you the floor, and even you look down and you'll see like the PlayStation pattern everywhere, and it'll say, take a look and make sure that the floor doesn't feel like it's floating. It's like if it looks like
put a controller down.
Well, it just kind of visually. It's like if it feels like the room is floating, then we want to try to put the controller down, get it to kind of move or what, and readjust it. But if it looks like you're standing on, the PlayStation bits, then you're good. You're set. Okay. Then you can take your controller, and if it feels like you didn't really map the floor out properly, you can kind of point and edge it out ever so refined to get the play area exactly where you want it.
Nice.
And kind of rough the edges or smooth the rough edges, I should say, until you get the play area that you want. And then it'll put it on the grid, map it out, and be like, there you go. You got your room. And I was like, that is cool.
Yeah.
Setup does feel like it takes a moment, but again, it's all well worth it because you're trying to get this set up. Now.
Oh, yeah. You want to set up right so you can play.
Exactly. So game-wise, I had 3 options, okay? Now, one, obviously, was Horizon Call of the Wild. That's what came with it. I did also purchase Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge because Star Wars. And I thought, from everything that I'd seen, I thought this would be kind of fun, not really had... I've done a few Star Wars VR, but this just seemed different enough that I was like, I want to try it out. And then this one we already had, but I thought this would be also an interesting take on it to try out No Man's Sky, since they've recently done their VR update. And I feel like maybe I tried to do VR with No Man's Sky once before, but it just wasn't.
Kind of hard.
It wasn't happening on the original.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, we'll give it a try with this. So starting with Horizon, I did start sitting down, okay? Because I didn't want to remap the room and move tables and whatnot. And I was like, well, let's just keep it simple and see how this works. This does not feel like a game that needs to be played sitting down because I feel like you're very active and what you're going to be doing,
sure,
that you kind of need to move a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Visually, it was stunning to see how much cleaner it looked. I know that the screen door effect is one thing that we continue to hear about.
I was going to ask.
At times, I don't feel like I see it. And then other times I do. I don't know if that's me and my eyesight, or if maybe I didn't adjust something, because there are moments that it just looks very, very clean. In fact, I've heard about the technology for the VR and the eye tracking. It's supposed to flood the processing power to everything you're staring at. So no matter what you're looking at, your eyes are always going to be getting the best picture possible. And
which I guess is IRL, right? Because off to your peripheral, you're
sure.
not looking at it as well. Yeah.
So I tried to kind of keep that in the back of my head. It's like, well, maybe that's what's happening. And I just wanted to focus. And at times I felt like I was getting the best picture possible. And again, miles away from the original. I'll say that wholeheartedly. But I would occasionally, at least in Horizon, did I see kind of a screen door effect aspect at times.
That does kind of suck to hear, though. But
so I could, given time, maybe I don't know. But I do want to make that clear that I did see it for myself. Okay. Other people could say, because the very first time I played it, I didn't feel like I saw it. Second time I really got into it, and then it changed, and I really started looking into it. Now, second time through, I did stand. I remapped everything, kind of changed my room up. Definitely much better play experience, because now I feel like I'm a little bit more active. Only problem is that there's a ceiling fan right above me, so I have to be very, very careful. And I wish I had a room.
A hanging light in the living room that's taking a beating.
Yeah, because I did hit it once and turned off the light somehow, so I was like, shit. So I'm trying to be cognizant of where it's at, and I need a better playroom, especially with the VR. It sucks. But far and away, it's so much better to play standing up, being active. You actually move by holding two buttons on the controllers and moving your arms, so you will feel like you're getting a workout. Furthermore, when you're having to use your bow, I did a practice run, and this is where I noticed that standing definitely needed to kind of change. Is when I was sitting, I encountered a watcher, I think it is, from Horizon. One of the most common little robots, got the tail, the one eye, and whatever. I just felt like I didn't die. I don't know how the hell I didn't die, but I struggled to fight because I was fumbling with my bow and everything, because you do the kind of reach behind your back, you aim. And I just wasn't, of course, I'm sitting down and my arms are hitting the chair and I'm just like, I can't do anything. So I felt like I was struggling. I was like, no, I got to stand up. So stood up later on, did that. Much better at combat, but I still feel like there are some elements to combat that I'm still struggling with, because you have to hold buttons and then, move your controllers a certain way to dodge, to dash. Then you have to also kind of keep your eyes on your enemies. So there's a lot going on, and I'm, again, not very well versed in VR technology that I know exactly what to do or how to move it, and I don't even know where all the buttons are yet. My brain has not quite put it together.
Yeah, it'll adjust.
Yeah, because even where I would think, since you have two buttons over here and two buttons over there, circle is the top button over here, yet circle is your farthest right button over here.
They moved the position placement of their own buttons?
That's how it feels. So I get confused. But if you look at it through a PlayStation controller, I guess it would be about the same, but it doesn't feel that way either. I don't know. It just something off about it,
Maybe, and it's just you probably adjusting to being separated too. That might be giving your brain a little bit of like, wait a minute, what are we doing? Yeah.
And same with your hands and your controllers is how everything is very adjusting. You hold up your hands.
Can you see it?
Yeah. So say if you've got your hands like this, my hands are open palm, and if you kind of come down with your 3 and you've only got your pointing finger, it'll sit there and do finger guns. And then you have to kind of pull that down too to even make a fist.
And it does pretty good?
Yeah, it's very responsive to everything that you're doing. So that's amazing.
I do have a question on something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, before we get far. How was it pulling stuff from your back? Were you pretty...
Now, that's where I had to practice a little bit. And luckily, they had an area in which you could kind of do target practice with bow and arrow because I felt like I was struggling with it. Now, if you're not in combat and you reach back and you pull out your bow, which that's another thing, too. If you're right-handed, left-handed, it accommodates to whatever you need. So,
did it feel more accurate? Did you have?
Oh yeah, pulling back the bow. Yeah, pulling back the bow, easy. Nice. feels really good. Going for an arrow, if you're not in a hurry, feels pretty natural. You can kind of set up your arrow, go and shoot. And I felt like it almost felt like luck. It was like I'm hitting these targets really well, and I'm really surprised. I felt like I wouldn't say I was like a straight shot Hawkeye or anything, but there was a point where I felt like I was doing really, really good. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And in the target practice, they have a timer where you can try to beat the time. So that became my goal, or points, I guess it was. But it's on a timer. You have to do it within a certain amount of time or hit all the targets within that, and then you get bonus points for whatever. So I aimed for that. I was like, I'm going to practice here, see how well I can do. Now, if you go too fast, you can fumble your arrow, and it seems like it gets a little loose, and you could drop it or something like that, and it just gets weird. Mm-hmm. But what I learned is if it kind of comes off a little bit, just readjust your hand and kind of pop it into place, then pull back, and then you can get your aim back. So it can be a little touchy and fumbly, but you can readjust pretty quick if you just take a moment. As brief as it can be.
You didn't have to try to grab an arrow 4 or 5 times for the game to register you picked it up, because that was one of my beefs with the original one being only on the camera. I was like, sometimes I'd be reaching for a gun and I can't get the MFer.
And that was the other beauty with this too, is because with the time trial that I did with the archery, I wanted to see how fast it would work. Now again, like I said, it would fumble at times, but I got to a point. My arms got really tired.
Oh, I bet.
Because it was just like having your arm out this entire time and then just bam, bam, bam. But I got to a point where I knew kind of the movement structure of it.
Sure.
To where I could just pa-pow, pa-pow, pa-pow. And I just kept everything moving with the occasional flub, or maybe I didn't hit anything proper or my aim was a little off.
Yeah.
But I got this movement going to where I was constantly keeping arrows going in the bow and just keeping it moving. So once you learn that movement structure and knowing exactly where you need to be, you can just start pulling that shit off and just going to town. And I was like, all right, that's what I needed. I needed to fill this out.
I wonder if the sensors in the controller kind of helped with that.
I'm hoping so, yeah. Because there has to be something, because there are times it feels like it goes back to those old wonky ways. Like one of the things that has kind of bothered me a little bit with Horizon is, say, when you're climbing mountains or rocks or whatever, sometimes you're just like right up on it and it's like, I'm trying to do this, and because I don't want to hit the light, and you're just trying to do all this, and you just feel like a schmuck. Yeah. But another interesting aspect to it, and I wasn't thinking about it at the time, because again, this is new for me.
Sure.
And this type of VR with the camera tracking on the VR is movement. I can move without having to move the sticks. So I could be walking, and if I wanted to go left, all I got to do is start turning left or turn my body left, and it will continue on with me. Nice. I don't have to use the sticks. Mm-hmm. And at times, I think about using the sticks because that's the natural feeling that I have, that I have to turn the camera, I have to keep moving. But you don't. You can do a complete 360 and just walk whatever direction you want.
But you're still having to hold the joystick forward.
Well, you hold a button on each controller. So that's kind of to initiate that you're walking. So you hold like the 2 bottom buttons on each controller, and then just start swinging your arms.
Move your arms.
Yeah, and then you're walking. So you can just walk in place, and You don't really have to stomp your feet, but I just do it just for the exercise.
Sure, why not? I mean,
yeah,
you're just
why
sitting
not?
here doing this in your living room anyway.
So, but it over time, like I would just start walking like a chump just because it was like, well, I'm walking. Why not? I'm just going to walk like a pimp.
Yeah.
And
badass on the horizon. Come on.
It just, I mean, it works. And I'm anxious to try more of that game because I wouldn't say that I've gotten too far, maybe 2 chapters in. I've gotten to see Aloy. Characters still feel like they're...
Oh, you're not playing as Aloy?
No, you're playing as a Shadow Karja criminal that everybody's like, you're a terrible person. And I'm like, I didn't do anything.
I just got here.
Yeah, I don't know what his deal is, but, everybody's kind of been like, I know you. But I don't know if you've ever thought this in video games or in VR games. People kind of feel like their bodies are just, like they may be standing side by side to you, but their heads seem so small. Like you just feel like you could squeeze it with your hand.
Kinda, yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
still there. People just feel smaller than they actually are, or they just look small. Yeah. And granted, I'm not on top of them or anything like that, but you just feel like you grab their head and just,
it's like,
I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing your head.
Why are you so little?
But no, Horizon's been a lot of fun. Then I tried a little bit of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Visually, this game looked much better on that screen door effect. Like I noticed a complete difference. There was just
mean it had far less?
Yes. Like it seemed so much cleaner when I was looking at it. Now again, I could be wrong. I have to come back to it because I didn't play it very long. I was just trying to try different things out. But there was something about it that just felt different. It looked different. It just, I don't know. There was something about it. It was just making me go, all right, this is really cool. So I'm looking forward to really deep diving into that. But again, I think it's a game I need to try standing up because I was trying it sitting down. And I had that moment where you're trying to grab stuff off a table, put it in your inventory, and then I would drop it, and then I'd try to go and pick it up, and then my hand would hit the floor, but I wasn't quite there yet. And it was
your feet were still like another 2 feet down.
I'm like, well, I can't get that. I guess we're stuck.
But I thought if you calibrated it with you sitting,
that's kind of what I thought too. Because
I thought that was the point.
They even ask you in the mode selections, like, how are you going to play? Are you going to play standing? Are you going to play sitting? So you can adjust that. So it knows how you're playing. So you think it would make those adjustments for you. So I was confused by that.
Was there a button you could push that maybe summoned it to your hand?
See, I didn't. That was another thing about the game too that maybe I missed is I was just kind of walking through. There was a kind of a story going on. And I got to a point where they're like, hey, scan these cargo containers. And then I got into the cargo hold and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Because I didn't see anything to do. And I was just and that's why I turned it off. Because I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm just looking around in different sections. And I was just so confused. And I looked it up on the internet like the next day. I was like, what did I miss? What did I do? And some dude's like pulling up visors on his wrist. And I was like, God damn it. I don't know.
You didn't tell me that was
you didn't. There was no tutorial to tell me to do that. I didn't know that. So I'm gonna go back to it at another time.
Sure.
Try it out when I've got a little bit more time and patience for it. Going to No Man's Sky. Oh wow. Okay. First of all, this is the game you want to play sitting down because you're in a cockpit.
Yeah.
Okay. So this feels more natural. And they also kind of have this, and Star Wars had this too, but they also kind of gave you the option to where you could walk, I guess kind of like Resident Evil 7 did. But they also have the point, and it was very intuitive, and I kind of appreciated that with Star Wars and No Man's Sky, is all you had to do was take the controller or the control stick, point it in a direction as far as I guess you could kind of possibly go with it with an arc. And then that would be your move. And then you could do it again and again, just as fast as you wanted to. You just had to know exactly where you're going to adjust. So that was kind of nice. And they said you can use that if you don't want to do the actual movement to kind of reduce motion sickness, which, fair point. Because with No Man's Sky, motion sickness came into effect.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I uploaded that. Floating through the open space where you're seeing all the different planets from a distance or whatever, that was already kind of like, whoa, okay, this is new because I've never seen it this
all around
massive.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then get to my base. Now my base, based on how I've seen it in the regular version of the game versus the VR version, it seemed very open and bigger than I've seen it. I mean, it's a big space, but I've never seen it from this perspective with the detail. So I was like, okay, this is neat. Walk out to my ships, go walk to my ship. Looks huge because why wouldn't it? Right. I get in, and this is where I had the learning curve because I didn't know how to get my ship started. Mm-hmm. Once I finally did, flying it was a bitch because you have like an old arcade style control stick over here, and then you have your forth and back lever over here. So here's your speed and here's your adjusting. So you've got to really know how to fly, and the controller does help because of the way it's situated.
Yeah, I feel like they got to be more comfortable too to hold.
It was. Yeah. It just took some time to get adjusting the right, because I started spinning. I started going in loops. I was like going everywhere. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to throw up. But I did go out to space just to get a sense of everything. Mm-hmm. Holy shit.
Beautiful.
Like, it's just amazing that this depth, that VR creates that for you. Like, well, you see it on the screen and you're like, yes, that's a big planet. I get it. But when you see it from that perspective, it just blows your mind. It's like, holy shit, that is huge. You know, everything looks massive. And it's just like, oh man, I've never in my life seen anything like it, but it's just amazing. But I pretty much went into space with my ship, came back down, and then tried to make my way back to where I was. But just to try and get a feel for the ship. And it took a lot, but I got it. I felt like I was finally getting it by the time I got to the end of it. And like I said, it felt more natural being seated because this is a ship game. And if that's what you're doing, then sure. I don't know how it would fare being on the ground. If you're doing the ground exploration or whatnot, could be rough. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But again, 3 different experiences, 3 different games, trying to get a sense of this VR set. I definitely say miles ahead of where they were.
Sure, okay.
Definitely the controllers are so much better. I didn't even mention they have earbuds that you now plug into the head, like the VR headset. So they are automatically in the back, and then you can just kind of plug them in.
Oh, so it is buds still.
Yes, okay. But when you were talking about those earbuds they were talking about, that would be a great replacement for this. They're fine. But if you can do more immersive sound, because I can kind of still hear everything, which I guess to a point is actually okay. It's actually good.
You should probably know what's going on around you a little bit,
Because genuinely, I kind of, when I really got into...
Absolutely take out your kid or something.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, that was actually the beauty of having Katrina there, is she was watching me, kind of being my backup, because I could hear her, and she'd be like, you're too close, you're too close. And I would kind of reach out my foot saying, too close to what? And she's like, you're about to hit the TV. And I'm like, oh. So, but funny enough, you can see the grid if you start to go off the beaten path.
Well, I was thinking that's why you map out your room, right? So it could warn you.
So at some point, you'll start to see it. And that's where it kind of would throw me because I was like, where am I at? And I've thought about, since you can actually map it out, maybe adding some notches or something in the map. So this gives you an idea where you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at...
Or give yourself, like, a foot before a TV, so you're not actually having to hit it first. You know, you see the wall, you know you've still got a foot, so I better back up a little bit.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, too. But, no, the grid will come up and be like, whoa, you're a little off.
Danger! You're about
and then I would start to figure out, okay, where I'm at. Because when I started, I was facing the TV. When I got out of it, the TV was to my right. And I was like, where did I turn around? Now, I know I turned around, but it's just funny. I don't realize where I've moved to or anything. Mm-hmm. So, plus, and I haven't mentioned this, and I know we're going long. I'm about to wrap it up.
Sorry, guys, but you love it.
But
take us in chunks.
The best feature is they have a see-through feature which you press a button.
That inside out or whatever.
And then it's essentially the cameras turn on, and then you can see everything around you. So you don't have to come out of the VR. You just hit that button and then it's like,
nice.
Take a peek.
Yeah.
And you're like, everything cool? And then you're back in.
Nice.
Really awesome feature. I really enjoy that. As far as the price point goes, I know that's the big point of contention that a lot of people have had. But when you compare all the other VR systems that are on the market that cost double
you're
that,
right.
This is a steal. And it's definitely worth the money.
And you don't have to have Facebook.
Exactly. I know you're still wired, but that is actually beneficial to it. So you can have that clarity, that field of vision, the eye tracking. Like I said, everything's just on point. It does still have those little hiccups and glitches that you get in VR. I even encountered one where I don't know what the hell I did. It may have been where I turned the light off, but the game lost tracking on me for a minute, and I was like, oh shit, what did I do?
Yeah, it kind of does need the light to bounce off of things, I think. Yeah.
So be aware of that.
Yeah. Keep your lights on.
Yeah. It caused me to die. I fell to my death. I was hanging from a mountain, okay? And then it was like, we've lost you. And I was like, oh shit, no. And the next thing I'm like, ah.
Yeah. I think Blood and Truth did that to me once, trying to climb up a ladder, and then I disconnected or something, and I was like, oh no.
Nah. Now, that's the other thing I want to touch on real quick. This is going to be the longest episode we've ever done.
I was going to say, or at least for a long time, I'm sure.
Games, in general, I understand that there are not a lot to choose from right now. That's why I'm kind of hoping that there will be some that roll over, like Blood and Truth. I would love to see that.
Did you try?
I haven't, but maybe I should. Maybe I should.
See. Yeah.
Because I do know that there are some that they do have kind of upgrades, and so maybe I should take a look, see if those might be available.
It might at least be playable, maybe not upgraded for the system, but maybe playable. Yeah.
That would be cool. I mean, especially some other games, because Iron Man is another one that I want to roll back over.
Yeah.
And that because that was a fun one to play. It just, the gameplay style, it would be so much better with that controller.
Oh, yeah.
I wholeheartly believe that, because I don't even want to get into the mechanics. I just know it. You know, in my heart of hearts, I know it would play so much better. But yeah, so if games are your concern, I understand that. But I feel like for someone like me, I do love VR. I want to continue to try and invest in VR, but I'm very particular about what I want. Like, I would have really wished that Sony would have offered up kind of a demo disc as they did with the original VR, like the VR Worlds thing. So it was just like little things here and there that was just kind of showing you the capabilities. I would have loved that with this, because it needed something like that. Not all these games are going to be for everybody. Some people are just not equipped to play Call of the Wild or Horizon Call of the Mountain or whatever. It's not their game. Katrina, she was looking at the ones I was playing. She's like, I said, do you want to try it? And she's like, nah. You know, because it's just, she has played them before, but I don't think they are the games she is wanting to try. She wants an experience, you know? So they need to have offered up something like that. I really wish they had, even if it was like an updated version of PSVR Worlds or something like that. Yeah. You know, just do those, but in 4K now.
Don't they still have that developing team? I thought so.
I thought so, yeah. But yeah, I don't really know what more I can say. I recommend it if you have a PlayStation 5, if you're looking to invest. I understand there's a lot of money, but this is as cheap as you're going to get if you want to get into VR.
I mean, you're not wrong. PC VR is expensive. Yes, the Oculus, what's it called now? The wireless one? Quest.
Yeah, the Quest.
I mean, it's definitely a more entry level. I think even it's now $499.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was $399, but I think they even upped the price of that. So, I mean, yeah, a little cheaper, but I feel like there's a lot more baggage that comes with it.
Yeah. Plus, you're getting 4K optics. You're getting a lot of great features. The control, I mean, a lot of it is what you're getting. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck. Just for what you may or may not think you're getting. I think this is probably one of the better VR models you're going to get your hands on for this price.
Well, hopefully they invest more in developing teams to come to there, because they're still the only console that does VR, right? I know Switch had the one that you could make out of boxes or whatever.
That doesn't count.
But I don't know like how in depth it was. But yeah, because I was always kind of surprised Microsoft did it, especially when they first came out with the Kinect, because I thought that camera was so much more intuitive than Sony's ever was that I was kind of surprised they didn't try to venture in.
Yeah, I feel like they could have, but I don't know what's holding them back.
I mean, at this point, whatever, they own all the things, so you just...
Sure.
But yeah, hopefully they lean into it. Oh, well, fun.
Yeah.
I think that was about, you hit everything I was curious about for that, because I wanted to know about the, how the headset fit. Sounds like if you wear glasses, you'll be able to wear it, because I always had to put in contacts to do VR.
I did. That is actually one thing I want to try is I do wear glasses most of the time when I'm gaming, but with VR, I thought, well, maybe I won't need it because I could adjust it, but I would like to try with my glasses on, see if that possible screen door effect I was getting would go away.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I would be curious, but I just know it was my eyesight because I tried the same thing. I'm like, well, everything's like right up against my eyeballs, right? I should be fine. Yeah. And then I took my glasses off. I'm like, nope, this is still way too fuzzy.
Yeah.
But, well, fun. All right. Well, that's our show, I think. Thank you for hanging in there, siblings. You can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash or go to the Instagram to view the weekly icon art Steven puts his time and love into. Don't forget, you can send us an email to supermegacrash@gmail.com. And you could also support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred podcast app and even going by and swing it over to patreon.com/pencil and paper productions. Or if you just want more entertainment outside of podcasts, you can head over to youtube.com/pencil and paper productions for more. And join our Discord. Come chat with us. You can make us better by coming on over. I'm pretty sure the links will be in the description down below. Thank you so much for listening. I am Lacey Finley.
And I'm Stephen White.
And you could join us again next time, Super Mega Craft siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.